What's going on, peeps? After covering all those weird core acts including Tally Hall, Will Wood, That Handsome Devil, and Lemon Demon, it only makes sense to tackle a singular Australian creator who has crafted music inspired by all of those artists. This is Chonny Jash. He currently has 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify and 40,000 YouTube subscribers, all from covers? Well, he isn't exactly a cover artist, as he seems to completely change the lyrics around from the original song. He isn't a parody artist either, as everything he makes is usually serious. I guess he is more of a remix or expansion artist, but he does have his own material. Chonny is a multi-instrumentalist. He can sing, play drums, and play the guitar. His editing musical style gives his music this eerie, cryptic, mysterious sound. Now, what inspired Chonny to pursue music? How did he get popular, and who even is this guy? All of this and more, including an in-depth analysis of his art, will be uncovered in this video. I found a lot to talk about, so expect a part 2 next week for everyone's sake, as it gets pretty dark. Let's get started. 23-year-old Chonny Jash is an independent songwriter and musician that hails from Victoria, Australia. Chonny's interest in music began with a piano at a very young age, as well as the boy messing around with marimbas in primary school. It got more serious in high school around 2013 when he practiced drumming. Shortly after, he began experimenting with FL Studio, sparking a passion for music production. These experiences led him to join multiple high school bands, enrolling in every music subject available, learning music theory, remixing video game music, composing original pieces, and eventually launching his official YouTube channel on January 15th, 2015. This YouTube channel would be known as Can of Soup, dedicated to uploading these video game music remixes. In October, Can of Soup got his first big break after collaborating with animator Delightfully Mad. Together, Can of Soup created a remix of the Sans boss fight alongside a stellar animation from Delightfully. It reached over 100,000 views. He followed up with another Undertale remix of Spider Dance that garnered 40,000 views. He continued to work on these videos for the next 6 years, branching out to The Binding of Isaac, Mario, Pokemon, and Druid Sandstorm to limited success, not even reaching 1,000 subscribers. In the background of these videos, Chonny has been publishing original music since 2017, as seen as his old SoundCloud account, starting off making electronic instrumentals. In 2019, Chonny studied music performance for a trimester before withdrawing. Also during this year was his first attempt at covering indie tracks, with She Only Loves Me When I'm There by Ballpark Music being the first. Upon hearing these admittedly amateur pieces, it's incredible to see how far he's come since. In 2020, he earned his diploma in sound engineering. He began pursuing an advanced diploma in sound engineering in 2021, but ultimately decided to leave during the final phase due to mental health concerns. Around this time, he abandoned his SoundCloud account for good. Piss off? Oh, okay, I'll move on. As you've seen, he outgrew the video game music remixes he grew up enjoying and killed off Can of Soup on June 5th, 2021. Instead of quitting YouTube altogether, he created a new channel, Chonny Jash, while he totally wasn't intoxicated. It was almost named Sneeb. Its purpose was to post shitposts, Mario meme mashups, and covers of dumb, stupid music. In interests he enjoyed a lot more. He also found the name Can of Soup to be cringe, wanting to start fresh with a channel less cringe. On the first day of its creation, he uploaded Fly Me to the Moon, but Frank Sinatra has anger issues, based on anti-moon Twitter user Fuck the Moon in his infamous tweet. At first, it went completely under the radar with only a couple hundred views. For the first 3 months, he developed these Mario mashups leading up to the album Mario is Dead on September 1st, 2021. But 2 days later would be the start of his cover journey with The Moss by Cosmos Sheldrake. It can take years for cover artists to build traction, especially in today's internet climate. So how did Chonny get traction? Well, one day, everybody hated the moon. Around November was when his channel finally picked up steam after the Fly Me to the Moon Angry remix blew up out of nowhere after Fuck the Moon was suspended again, causing a meme riot. The tweet reads, "Fly me to the moon and let me kick its fucking ass. Let me show you what I learned in my moon jiu-jitsu class." These were also the opening lyrics to Chonny's cover, leading to YouTube directing you towards the cover when you search the keywords, also helped by YouTube's recommendations. This video gave him his first 100 subscribers, but it was taken down a year later due to Chonny receiving a copyright takedown from the deceased artist's legal team, ending off the month with his first Tally Hall cover of Spring in the Storm, jokingly daring himself to become a Tally Hall cover channel as it is his favorite band. This cover began as a school project for his diploma in sound engineering, eventually evolving into the madness we're witnessing today. Naturally, Tally Hall had that massive resurgence at the start of the decade due to the TikTok boom, leading to new fans searching for fan covers just to be hit with Chonny Jash. Sometimes his covers are darker than the original. His covers of two of the band's biggest hits, Hidden in the Sand and Ruler of Everything, picked up thousands of views, only encouraging Chonny to continue down this path. Plus, his cover of The Moss also caught traction. From March to May, he gained 300 new subscribers, helped by his cover of Joe Holy's Variations on a Cloud. Rather than typical covers that simply build off existing songs, he tries something different by modifying the lyrics, introducing new instruments, and occasionally incorporating entirely new sections, transforming each piece in his own weird way. A big part of his appeal is that you can tell it's coming from the perspective of a dedicated fan of the group, and almost showing like the best parts of the fan base in general with its creativity. On May 9th, 2022, Chonny released his first album, unless you count the Mario album, Covered in Discontent, that includes all the non-Tally Hall related covers he's done thus far. It's filled with electronic bass instrumentals combined with drums and Chonny's gentle robotic vocal style. First, The Moss contains the same hook, changes out a few instruments adding more synths, and includes a new outro with a similar melody. It has the same theme as the original based on turning well-known facts into legends, while also comparing them to real myths and legends. A Rabbit on the Moon, legendary, with the final verse added by Chonny stating how parts of nature like moss could outlive certain people, especially if they take their own lives. The original had this innocent feeling of how cool nature is. Meanwhile, this cover takes it into a darker place, stating how we're killing the earth and ourselves with limited time to fix it, almost helped by Jash's chilling, almost robotic vocals. KK Cruiser from the Animal Crossing soundtrack is remixed with words you can actually understand, tackling the struggle of humans to get along with each other, backed up by beautiful synth shenanigans, as he says. Is it less playful than the original? Duh, of course it is. Oh Come All Ye Faithful from Sycamore Smith is certainly awkward to listen to as a religious person myself. Chonny's take is on the same topic of the Bible stories are stupid and make no sense, with Chonny wishing he could believe things like the Bible to give himself hope like that. Slutterol Glump from Mr. Bill doesn't really change on this cover lyrically. Same message about breaking free and not fearing action with a less punchier electro-hop instrumental. The man with the skeleton arms told the story of two men who accidentally caused a fire, severely burning another man. Years later, this man seeks revenge on them with a sinister plan to skin them before melting the flesh off their arms, becoming the man with the skeleton arms. The Chonny take sees the song's bridge being from the perspective of the skeleton arms man, adding to the terror with a demonic vocal effect. Restless Heart from Jonathan Young is about what it means to be an artist, meaning being addicted to creation, with Chonny flipping it with new lyrics that appear to be a lot more desperate than the original. Instead of no chemical to doctor me, it's doctor talk to me. Pocket covers Louis Zong that says if you got something to say, let it out. Don't lock it away. Chonny adds an even more encouraging bridge to express those hidden feelings instead of being limited by society. Alone with My Thoughts by Noah Flourish explores being completely alone despite the universe being so massive. He's not fascinated by any of it, even during his final days. His lack of motivation ruined his life experience, only portrayed through Chonny's hollow yet tearing vocals. Scatman's World by Scatman John is from the 90s that tackles the issues of racism in an energetic, satirical way. Meanwhile, Chonny's cover is a lot slower and emotional, replacing the Euro dance beat with a piano rock instrumental, giving the lyrics a lot more weight in this context. Might be one of the best covers here. Shoot Me Loves Me When I'm There is his first cover by Ballpark Music about an abusive relationship with an effective pop-punk style groove. Chonny's cover has a different outro repeating the first verse instead, possibly using it as hope to work things out in the relationship. Spooky Scary Skeletons by Andrew Gold doesn't need an exclamation. Halloween staple. Chonny's heavier cover draws more focus to the skeleton's nature. Instead of being seen as these scary creatures on the original, Chonny pictures them as misunderstood outsiders that get treated terribly by society when they try to socialize. Ending off with a cover of the classic Hallelujah, with Chonny's purposely butchered rendition switching from an argument with God to point out inconsistencies within some religious communities, the people that claim to be Christians. Solid start from Jash. Were there points of amateurism? Of course, but it's impressive he's producing all of this in the first place. For the rest of the year, he pumped out new Tally Hall covers every other week, with The Whole World and You, The Bidding, Rob Cantor's I'm Gonna Win, and Mucka Blocka, with actual lyrics, vaulting him to 5,000 subscribers, averaging 10,000 views each upload. Ending off 2022 with his 12-minute cover of The Mind Electric, that garnered 90,000 views in 2 weeks, showing that this next year was about to be a promising one, with the release of Chonny's charming Chaos Compendium, based on Tally Hall's Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum, including all those previously released covers spanning from Tally Hall to Miracle Musical. Before this release would be The Before, an album of his own original material on March 2nd, containing that same digital electro rock sound with a robotic vocal tone, now being used for his own material. We begin quite aggressively on the electro rock Does It Sound Familiar of Chonny basically telling this person with a fake cherry facade with hidden malicious intent to kill themselves, possibly about one of those popular kids who play buddy-buddy with all the cool kids while putting the weaker ones down. Likely unaware of their terrible actions, does this ring a bell? Upbeat End the Dance sees Chonny once again confronting a person full of lies, demanding for them to stop with all the nonsense and end the deceiving dance. I love when the guitar comes in to intensify the mood, especially in the build up to that excellent bridge. Bass heavy Backlit by Moonlight is the first song Chonny ever wrote, discussing that disappointment in not pursuing a relationship that was almost given to him. You miss every shot you don't take, a phrase that Chonny realizes. Contempt follows two people in the same boat of masking their pain and deflecting blame, but are certainly different in morals. As displayed in the final hook, Chonny finds growth acknowledging his hostile issues, using them to realize how much of a liar this other person is. Pit is a devastating dark electro-pop track with soaring synths that sees this person being trapped in a cycle of hate and insecurity, wanting to open up, yet they repress themselves from opening up by putting on a disguise to believe their own crap, until realizing they're sick. However, by releasing this song, they are opening up, technically. Every ounce of energy is about feeling stuck and hopeless, represented by the rather cold vocal delivery but holding on to the feeling that one day it'll all work out. The haunting Free Paces Away is once again a dumping of insecurities about being apparently talentless, worthless, and having skeletons in your closet. It gets to the point where they are 3 steps from ending their life. However, by the end, they aren't done being here, hoping to stick around for one moment that gives them joy. I hope that moment encourages them to continue their life. Stay alive, everyone. It's worth it. I'm proof that it all gets better. A Devil's Trick follows a man with a devil on his shoulder that delivers messages of self-doubt and fear. This battle between inner demons and a desire to heal oneself. While Chonny sings, you can hear the faint taunts of the devil during the vocal breaks. No matter how much you heal, those demons never leave. Concluding with the piano-led Wings of Wax using Greek gods to point out that everyone has the desire to break free from their troubles and pursue their dreams, despite the risk and warnings against it. We're just sick of being average. We want to be rebels like Icarus. The next day, Chonny's charming Chaos Compendium would be released, obviously becoming his most popular work, putting on this gentle robotic vocal style which has received comparisons to FNAF music. Experimenting further with electro-pop and indie-tronica, the record is based on Chonny's journey through cognitive dissonance, a guilty feeling people get based on their decisions or beliefs. It's mainly sung through 3 personas, the heart, mind, and soul, each symbolizing different aspects of his thoughts and mental well-being. Soul is the host, with a distinctively clear voice, with a subtle touch of auto-tuning to sound slightly robotic. Mind is the logical side of Chonny, with a deep and heavily distorted voice, Heart is the emotional side of Chonny with the most authentic voice, a bit scratchy and strained. They are all connected with Whole, Chonny himself who sounds like Soul, and strive to act in his best interest through their own individual ways, only making things harder. Throughout this record, it is shown that Whole struggles to keep all three personalities of himself in check as he stumbles through challenges in his life. We're going to hear about the three's stories, their behaviors, their experiences with each other, and situations Chonny or Whole has faced, addressing the expected topics of depression, mental health, and suicide, alongside roaring guitars with the assistance of his band Trapsetta, pleasant piano chords, glitchy effects, pounding drums, smooth bass, electrifying synthwork, and elements of dubstep to create this madhouse of an album. Introducing us to Whole's main issue on the piano-led Time Machine reprise, with all this craziness going on that becomes hard to control, resulting in the heart, mind, and soul splitting apart by the end of the song. It's clearly not the first time this has happened, as seen by the mention of this song being a reprise. What's happened will be and repeat, similar to mental health cycles we all go through that never seem to end. I believe Soul appears to take the lead of this track, discussing his frustration with mind and heart's arguments, unsure if they'll ever get along. As seen in the video, Whole completely bleeds of color, with his vocals trembling more as the track goes on until he fades into the dark, becoming Soul. He can't hold himself together, resulting in the split. The next we'll see him, who knows? But time for the big three to tell their story. The original Dream was only an instrumental bonus track. This time, Chonny applies actual lyrics. All three have this worried feeling about another round of cacophony, hoping to make this the last round they have to go through. Cacophony can be seen whenever heart and mind get into a fight, with Soul almost shaking his head like, are we doing this again? He even fears they could hurt him. Justice for Soul, he just wants everyone to get along, truly the glue that keeps everything together. Sometimes it gets too much for Soul, leading to him attempting suicide only to fail, upsetting mind and heart that he'd do such a thing. Soul dreams of a better life. He wants to find purpose and would hate to miss that better life, settling with the idea of giving life another try. Something about his distorted vocals and the instrumental switch-ups tell the story of a kid on the verge of suicide, and just when they come close to doing so, when the track gets quiet, one thing changes their mind, leading to all the instruments coming back. If you thought it couldn't get any wilder, remember that stupid chicken song Mucka Blucka? Chonny made actual lyrics out of it too. I find it funny how Tally Hall is such a squeaky clean band while Soul is over here dropping F-bombs during these expansions. Seriously, I don't know how else to explain this track other than a medley that contains references to several Tally Hall songs that'll be part of this album with surprisingly smooth pacing. It could honestly be a whole musical. I'm shocked by how great this is. It prepares you for the theme of the record. He talks about how he doesn't really know himself. Maybe this album is him, Chonny, trying to get to know himself, bringing himself down to three parts to learn their purposes before becoming whole again. It's possible we're never meant to know. Speaking of that, Never Meant to Know is tame in comparison with Chonny lightly singing with a vocoder effect. I find the message here to be a general observation of all three parts working together in one whole. How this is even possible is unknown, but just like the song says, there are some things we are never meant to know. This relates to our bodies, where there are parts of us we don't know what they do or why they exist and likely never will. However, it helps us function. Spring in a Storm is one of the warmer Chonny covers with cute harmonies, gentle singing, and light percussion. It appears to be sung by Soul. He knows how this story is going to go as he's been through it so many times. Soul tries to sing this song to feel joy, cope, and escape the fighting. Soul wants the three to be whole again. Given the deeper vocal effects, I see the outro being Mind and Heart doing a brief duet here, hinting at the expected fight. Light and Night gets split up, with Night being the next track to cover, that sees all three taking turns singing the song. The heart wants to find connection, the mind looks for meaning, and the soul searches for hope. There's a clear difference in goals here that might be the reason these fights happen. It makes working together impossible with the tensions only rising. The distorted piano rock production only emulates this unevenness, taking us to the ruler of everything that almost feels like a dubstep version of the original song with a thick bass, synths, and harsher percussion where it all goes wrong. Juno, aka Heart, shoots a gun at Mind over a disagreement in the last track, I'd assume. Thankfully, he misses. Due to his harmful actions, Mind froze him in prison to punish Heart and learn a lesson. Wait, is this song about a failed suicide attempt and imprisoning your emotions? God dang it, Chonny, you mastermind. Mind is the ruler of everything in this case, where Heart sits in his jail cell, reflecting on himself. He admits that he pretends that he understands everything when he is really a fool who wants control. By the end, he learns that time is the only thing that controls everything. Heart takes the main role on Good Day, where instead of having a positive nature like the original, it circles around in his own depression, likely from being in this jail cell. He turns to pills, alcohol, and a gun. It's not looking good. The comments are right, the minor key switch alone. This is evil Tally Hall. Mind and Soul appear to be tired of Heart's depressing rambling and want to sing their feelings during the outro. Just Apathy continues Heart's sad state in prison, waiting for something better while he pouts and moans in his struggles. Mind pretty much tells him that he could have been misled by his own actions, not him, telling Heart to stop acting like a baby. He is the emotional one after all. Heart from there wants to learn to not be bothered by all of this. Mind expresses apathy for Heart either way. Why should he care? Heart comes back swinging, claiming that Mind's apathy is negative energy and unjust. Mind's response is that everything is going to turn to dust, and Heart's lack of concern makes his apathy justified in his mind. Taking us to the Heart acoustic that sees Heart express more maturity while keeping that dislike for Mind known. The dude is clearly spiraling, only shown in Chonny's incredibly emotional performance, alongside the clashing of the instrumentals here. Heart wants to save Mind from going after Soul. By the end, Heart grows too tired to care and lets Mind do what he wants with Soul, a surrender to negative thoughts, only furthering this depressive state. I swear, Mind and Heart compete to work alongside Soul, as he is the host after all, trying to one-up each other to show who is more powerful. None of them want to be the weakest link. The burden of living with depression is only furthered on the much heavier than the original Be Born, that sees Mind and possibly Soul bullying Heart for an entire song. Heart plays the victim and claims Mind is the villain, yet Heart is the one who shot the gun. Having to accept your actions despite how you pass the blame hurts. By the end, Heart is being outright threatened that if they don't become whole again, Heart will be killed, aka they all die. The ambush continues with Storm in a spring that sees Mind claiming Heart is manipulative and a liar. Mind then spends the rest of the song telling Heart he depends on the other two to survive and to kill himself. I've heard people call this song about having a panic attack, which makes sense given how chaotic and overwhelming it all is. Mind appears to be more emotional than Heart here, even if he's still quite cold. Only proven on the Mind Electric, where it gets to the point where Mind isn't even being logical in his insult, just straight up insulting Heart. Saddened and weak, huh? Not much to say other than Heart being bullied for 3 more minutes. After sitting back watching it all go down for several tracks now, Soul finally steps in to stop the fighting. Soul says that none of them can control him and tells him to pray, stopping the fight with Heart and Mind having their mouths closed. They listen to Soul's statement before going back to arguing about who's the problem. As a consequence, Soul threatens to take his own life, which would ultimately destroy the Heart and Mind, as well as the person they've been striving to support. This statement gets the attention of the Heart and Mind for good. Next, we pretty much get a therapy session between the Heart and Mind where they illustrate their points in a more logical way in comparison to their emotional arguments on the bidding. Once it escalates again, Soul steps in to give advice and, going once, going twice, expresses anger that their time is so short, yet they continue this stupid war. On the bridge, Heart and Mind harmonize for the first time, agreeing on something while still fighting. Soul expresses his excitement over this moment. They're getting somewhere. Soul comes up with a solution that if they come together in harmony, the issues can be resolved as they sing the last line together in harmony. I see this as that shining glimmer of hope, finding that inner unity and accepting yourself for who you are. The small victories matter. You are making progress towards getting out of this depressive state. Heart finds himself to be blinded by a light, almost as a moment of clarity. Mind knows he is cold and robotic and wants things to go back to his way. Soul believes he shouldn't have to choose between the two and instead thinks they should just combined into whole again. The three have survived for now, leaving the light on, a sign of hope. After discussing their struggles, they have more instances of harmony before combining into whole, realizing the damage they've done to each other. Another note is in the production where the entire track is overwhelming until they combined into whole, where the track is much more quiet with simple piano chords. Hope is shown even more on We're Gonna Win, where I can see the heart and mind finally starting to understand one another. It could also be Hole getting advice from his friends about his circumstances, assuring him he's going to be just fine. A track about pushing through with the three sides of him coming together in harmony, learning from their fights and becoming friends. Everyone can win if we stick together. Now that they're combined, we get to hear more about Hole, aka Connie's backstory, likely how he got here in the first place. There's this struggle between Connie's queer identity that he reveals for the first time, grappling with his deeply religious upbringing. He ultimately didn't feel accepted by his family, distancing himself from them and having a dislike of religion based on these experiences. Wow, how did he take a song about simping for the Olsen twins and turn it into religious trauma? Variations on a Cloud with references to Ruler of Everything and Good Day returns to the perspective of the three parts that feels a whole lot lighter in tone. Maybe it's the three getting along with one another, hoping to maintain this friendship and unity returning for the first time. Similar to how Joe suggested on the original to keep the topic of 9/11 discussed to remember that tragic moment and how it affected the nation. The three will have their fights, but as long as they find unity again, it'll be worth the pain. You're gonna go through rough patches. You might learn a few things, but when you find that inner peace, you'll realize the journey was worth it, and you'll be stronger for having endured all this. The whole world in you reflects this harmony of dark and light, aka mind and heart coming together, confirming they are getting along. Even if they throw playful jabs at each other, I've been wanting to combine for so long! Yeah, okay, mind. Heart even says, yup, nobody's better than you. I hope you're happy now that I've told the truth. Only admitting it now because you've been such an asshole about it. The rest of the track sees Chonny praising Tally Hall for their music and how much fun he had making these covers. Wholesome track, an end to the cacophony. Putting Welcome to Tally Hall in a weird place, almost as this long overdue introduction to why he does these covers. The placement makes sense after dedicating that last section of The Whole World and You to them. If you couldn't tell, Tally Hall is his favorite band, discovering them in 2016 and will remember them until he dies despite their never-ending hiatus. Chonny even admits how much he butchers the songs he covers, writing them to be a lot more tragic and electronic than the original. It's pretty much how all fans feel about the band, expressing their love for them in the best way they can. All is Tally, all is Hall. Tally Hall is love, Tally Hall is life. Leaving me unsure what he's gonna do to my precious Banana Man that might be my favorite song from them, admittedly. It's pretty much Chonny making fun of and criticizing the original song, an over-the-top argument between Chonny's past and present self, and a discussion of people who won't acknowledge that things can be good, but flawed. Banana Man is certainly a good, even great song thanks to its incredible production, humor, and freeing vocals, despite having obvious problems. His cover just sounds like a defense of guilty pleasures, which this certainly is to me. Haku returns to the album's off-the-wall sound that sees Hole trying to write a haiku for someone, but struggling to perfect it. He finds himself to be overthinking, resulting in him feeling this painful pressure, almost like he's been stabbed. Or it's the girl he's writing to, rejecting his advances, getting shot down. After he finishes his haiku, he comes to a sad realization that the girl likely won't even hear it. It's too late. Instead, he released it to the world. My other theory is that this could be Chonny's struggle with perfecting these covers to satisfy his audience. After all the success he has garnered, he feels like he has something to prove. It takes weeks for him to finish one, likely fixating on every detail to make it right, fearing not a lot of people will hear him out. That's content creation for you.
Hidden in the
Sand starts by using a similar EQ to the original, before the vocals clear up to hear Chonny's 3 new verses. He describes a girl he likes and his failed attempts to express his feelings. He mentions going home, writing a haiku, full of lyrics he fears are too creepy, never delivering to the girl. He becomes delusional, believing she would say she'd rather die than be seen with him. This never actually happened. He's just scared of rejection this badly. This belief negatively impacts his mental health, leading him to try to repress it, but ultimately just ignoring it. This might be when he starts to split into 3 personalities again. Greener is seen as the most normal cover here, originally focused on the jealousy towards someone from the past. The song now centers on how someone in Chonny's life desires him instead. It could be about his newfound fan base and their expectations for his work. If you're looking through a computer screen, success looks so easy. Behind closed doors, it drives you mad. Trust me, I've been there. Either way, Chonny uses a yard to determine his mental state. It doesn't appear to be green. Quite dark, admittedly. How is this more pop punk and honestly better than the original? Most underrated cut here. Special covers that underrated Joe Holy singlet, even doing the rap part. It's once again about his fanbase's expectations of him, wondering if they think he's more special than most musicians on the internet. During the minor key change section, he appears to doubt and pressure himself before reaching the major key section. Chonny seems more hopeful that he'll find himself and give everything he's got. That switch from a sad to happy tone reveals Chonny's acknowledgement of his talents, despite ongoing challenges and meeting expectations. That knowing that you have something special feels rewarding. Ending with Taken for a Ride, where Chonny reflects on his ride of a musical journey, the unexpected attention his art has garnered, and his hopes for the future. He didn't plan for any of this fame to happen. It's always just been a hobby for him. Chonny truly opened up on these songs, informing his audience they know more about him than his own family. Chonny found a group of people that understand and accept him, and his openness has only made him more relatable to the Tally Hall fandom. The story isn't over. There's still tracks from Good and Evil he could cover. We might get ourselves a sequel album in the future. That quote from Marvin only parallels Chonny's surprise at his covers unexpectedly forming into a popular album. You may find parts of this record to be edgy, overblown, overproduced, and cringe, but damn, this recreation of 27 tracks from the Tally Hall universe is impressive. I found this to be incredibly well produced for a random Australian guy on the internet. It came from a true fan, someone who has been studying their catalog, adding extra bits and pieces into songs that weren't there before. The way he was able to form each lyric around this theme of his struggles with cognitive dissonance, including the storyline of the heart, mind, soul, and himself. It's a confusing, deep record that took me hours to truly decipher lyrically. As Chonny said, all this is up to interpretation. You could pull an entirely different story out of this, and nobody would bat an eye. It betrays the inner turmoil of a man teetering on the brink of suicide, finding fleeting hope in moments of joy, only to be crushed again, perpetuating his cycle of anxiety. This record is a never-ending depressive cycle that we go through. You're going to struggle, but as long as you have hope, we'll keep coming back. I admit that I wasn't expecting to have this much to say about this guy. Given the fact I'm about to go on vacation, I'll have to give y'all a part 2 next week covering the Gothic Horror and the Power Hour tape. I don't want to rush myself. I truly want to give y'all the best content because I think there's something special here that more people need to know about. Thank you for watching this video. Let's get Chonny himself to check this out to see how far he has come from Undertale remixes to Mario shitposts to blowing up the moon to Tally Hall covers with millions of views. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like and subscribe for more base content. I'll see you all in the next one. Make sure to love all and peace.